Hey guys, and welcome in. My name is Jeff Beavers, and tonight I'm at Herdmont Park inside the Oak Mountain Eagles Stadium, about to talk to some of our Chelsea lacrosse players. And I know what you're thinking, all right, well, I didn't know that Chelsea had a lacrosse team. Well, we don't, at least not yet. Our Chelsea players actually play for crosstown rival Oak Mountain. I'm going to introduce you to all of our Chelsea players, and we'll also get to talk to Coach Ben Price, who's also on the Lacrosse Council. So hang on, stay with us, and we'll be right back. And you're watching Inside the Hornets Nest.
Jake Adams, senior, midfield.
I'm Chad Carboni, senior, midfield.
Patrick Loftus, I'm a senior and I play defense.
Joshua Tyndall, I'm a senior, I play defense.
My name is Harrison Dumeyer, I'm a junior and I play tag.
I'm Luke Price, junior, LSM.
Alex Davis, junior, midfield.
Patton Hunter, junior, attack.
Well, when I was actually a kid, I started playing in first grade, and I was like every other kid, trying out sports, seeing which ones I liked. And a friend of mine came up to me and asked me if I wanted to play lacrosse, and I had no idea what lacrosse was. So of course, I was in first grade. I just said I might as well try it. And I actually remember I had to play for Hoover because there was only 4 teams in the entire state. It was Huntsville, Batavia, Mount Brook, and Hoover. So I had to drive to Hoover every day for practice and play games there. And I remember I just totally fell in love with the game of lacrosse. I played baseball and football before, and just the pace of it was what I really fell in love with. It was so fast paced, it was nonstop, kept going, had to keep grinding all the way throughout the game. And I remember I just kept playing, and every year I just kept loving it more. So the good thing is about when I played football, and football is in the fall and lacrosse is in the spring. So I'm off season playing lacrosse and football. And I just thought, a lot of people don't really do much when they're off season. They're kind of just sitting around, waiting for the next practice. But lacrosse was able to keep me in shape, keep me conditioned, and I did way more running than I did in lacrosse than I did in football. So that was the biggest thing, was keeping me in shape. And sometimes I would have to go from football workouts straight to lacrosse practice, and it was a hard grind. But I remember it benefited me the most. It's almost weird when I tell people I play lacrosse for Oak Mountain and I go to Chelsea. Some people kind of think it's wrong. I used to joke with my friend that he would wear his Oak Mountain lacrosse shirt to Chelsea, and I'll tell him, you can't wear that to school because that's just not right, because we're rivals with Oak Mountain. But nevertheless, there's nothing you can do about it. I want to play the sport I love, and the only place to play here is at Oak Mountain, so that's where I'm going to play it at. But you know how Chelsea is. Chelsea's usually football and baseball. That's kind of the 2 sports you play. And so, when you say lacrosse, it's almost like speaking a foreign language there. So, it's different to people, but a lot of people come around it, getting the hang of it, and I think they're starting to get a liking to it. Well, like I said before, there was only 4 teams when I started playing, and by my 3rd year of lacrosse, it grew to 12 teams, all in 1 year. So that was a big growth, I remember, and I actually got to play for Oak Mountain that 3rd year. And I just think that a lot of people have come around, trying to get a lot of people into the sport, and Chelsea's already got a middle school team, and I think a lot of people have grown to love it. We're trying to branch out the sport more and more every year, and we're getting more Chelsea people every year. And I do think that we'll one day have a Chelsea lacrosse team. I remember we tried to do it a couple years back, but it just didn't work out as well. We like playing together anyways. But I think one day, for sure, Chelsea will have a lacrosse team, and it could be very successful if they keep doing it the right way.
So I started about 7th grade. That was the first time I ever played. It was a team called Storm. It was like Chelsea Oak Mountain Storm. So I've been playing with these guys for 5-6 years. But really, I got introduced to it from Chad. He used to live around the street from me. So growing up, 2nd grade, we always played together. So that's where it really started for me. It's a little bit of everything, man. There's a lot of aspects from soccer, but also more football, to the physical side. So it's really been a little bit of everything, but there's definitely some stuff from basketball, footwork. There's a lot of that stuff. So it's a little bit of everything, man. Yeah, it's definitely a weird feeling, but like just going back to it about playing with the same guys. Not a lot of people know about the Chelsea Oak Mountain team. Not a lot of people know that I play. Not a lot of people know that people at Chelsea play. They definitely see it as more of an Oak Mountain thing. So that's just how it is. So right now it is definitely more like parents coming to games. Definitely some of our friends that we ask to come, and they love watching. But in the future, I definitely see it becoming sanctioned, which is like what I was hoping for by the time I was a senior, but it didn't happen this year. Just looking forward to like seeing how the sport will grow, though. I think it's definitely going to blow up soon. Our best memory, definitely maybe this fall when we won that tournament. We won a tournament this summer or this fall, and there's just a great feeling to just win it all. Playing some good teams, it was nice to win.
So I'm talking with Coach Price, who is, are you the coach or one of the coaches for Oak Mountain Lacrosse?
Actually, I have the pleasure of serving on the board for Oak Mountain Lacrosse, but in the past years I've helped with the high school team as well as the middle school team.
Okay. And so let's get right into it, and let's talk about how lacrosse has grown since, I'd say within the last 3 to 4 years.
Absolutely. Well, the game of lacrosse has grown not only from the youth ranks, but all the way through professional, where you're seeing professional lacrosse right now get big TV contracts with NBC, all the way down to college getting a lot more airtime, and now high school even getting some airtime on ESPN. So the game is flourishing throughout the entire country.
One of the things that you're aware of that obviously our viewers may not be is Chelsea, where I'm from, we've never had a lacrosse team up until this year.
That's right.
And it was our first year for U14. And so I think that's huge. Talk about bringing a new sport in and what it can actually do to a community.
Sure, absolutely. Well, a little bit about my story is that we relocated to the Birmingham area to Chelsea about 3.5 years ago. And honestly, when we started our home search, the first thing that I was looking for was lacrosse teams, because we have 3 children that all play the game and want to continue to play the game throughout their college careers as well. And as such, it was high priority when we were just looking for a place to live. And so with that, we were a little bit disappointed that Chelsea didn't have a team, but then we learned about the Greater Birmingham Youth Lacrosse Association, which has teams across the area, and then it's afforded all of our kids an opportunity to play. But selfishly too, what the game of lacrosse has brought to us and why it means a lot to me is the fact that without the game and being new to the area, we wouldn't have been able to plug into the wonderful community that we do have now. And this is why I'm passionate about the game, because I want to give back, because the game has given us so much, from challenging our kids to become better versions of themselves, to my wife and I just having to know people and being able to see who's who.
Well, with we just met some of the players that go to Chelsea, and they're actually playing for Oak Mountain, and that can be a huge transition, especially when you are playing for one of your main rivals. But talk to us as far as a community. What do we have to do to keep this sport, and it is a fantastic sport, to keep the sport in Chelsea?
Sure. It all begins with something new. You need that subject matter expert. And so with lacrosse, because I didn't grow up playing with it, I don't think you did either. Probably the majority of us have not grown up playing this game. So we need that person who is passionate about sharing the game. And that usually is a coach personality that probably played at the collegiate level, if not even higher. And so it's really identifying that person that we can identify within the Chelsea community as being the leader of the game.
So parents and kids that may not know anything about lacrosse, and they decide, okay, well, you know what I'll do? Let's go out and watch the game. They go out and watch the first game. What can they expect?
Absolutely. You're going to see a complete mix of all the sports that we know and love growing up, as far as the physical nature of football, the footwork of football, sometimes even the defensive schemes of football is going to be integrated in the sport. From there, you'll see a lot of offensive sets that remind you of basketball. Then you have the skill of baseball. You have the athleticism and the endurance of soccer. It's all combined in one sport on a grass surface.
So I'm about to put you on the spot now.
Love it.
All right, so football at times is known as a barbaric sport.
Sure.
Golf is known as a gentleman's game. Baseball is known as America's pastime. What would you say lacrosse is known as?
It is actually known throughout the lacrosse community as the creator's game or the healing game, because it is actually the oldest sport in North America, because the Native Americans actually started the game themselves. And throughout their play, it was a way to settle tribal disputes to just having fun. And that's what's cool about the game, is that tradition is carried through even to modern times today, where that's what amazes me most about the game is the community. We can go right now, because of our experience with the game, go throughout the country, and honestly we've met somebody from that area at a random tournament or a showcase or something like that. And the community of the game is really something special.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out to educate us on the game of lacrosse. And with my son playing it, I have to say, guys, if you haven't experienced a lacrosse game, you need to come out and watch it. You need to give these guys the support that they deserve, because it is a crazy but fun and exciting sport.
I appreciate you saying that. I agree.
Well, thanks for being with us.
All right, man.